Hello everybody, back in that Jesus intro. And I'm changing my channel again. Why? Because I feel like I need to. Because I've been promising to upload consistently for a really long time. And I finally figured out the reason that is because the videos are way too far apart. But when you review stuff, the videos have to be far apart. So I'm going to be changing my channel yet again to something I am really passionate about, and something I'm very knowledgeable about as well, and that's art. Now, this channel is mainly going to be something kind of like a mixture between Lavender Towns and White Mangas. If you've ever seen either of those guys, you definitely heard of Lavender Town. I don't know if you heard of White Manga though. If you haven't, I highly suggest checking them out. Now, what I mean by that is, this is going to be like an art challenge channel with a bunch of art tutorials. I don't really have the merits to do art tutorials because I'm not that good of an artist, but like I said, I know a lot about art, and for the most part these videos are going to be either 100% art related or like 50% art related, because it's similar to White Manga here is that I also want to make my own comic book series as well. So does Lavender Town, but she already made hers, and so did White Manga. But White Manga dives even deeper than Lavender Town, I would say. Of course, his is more manga than a webcomic like Lavender Town's. So yeah, and writing is another thing I'm pretty knowledgeable about. The reason I'm knowledgeable about those things is because I used to criticize things when I was a kid a lot for really no good reason, and as I got older I was like, stop doing that. Only criticize it if you're actually criticizing it like on actual true merits. And so I studied these things quite a bit, so I know what is supposed to be there and what's supposed to be there. I'm similar to maybe an art critic. A lot of art critics actually don't know how to draw at all, but they know a lot about it, and I am very similar to that. Now that we got that all out of the way, why I'm changing my channel yet again and what it's going to become in the future and shit. Today we're going to talk about something that a lot of artists struggle with. I know I struggled with. I'm still pretty much a beginner artist, but I know the struggle, and that's finding your art style. Now, art style to me is just simply the way you draw. A lot of artists overcomplicate it, like the way you draw anatomy, the way you draw this and that, like, and just the way you just do proportions and shit. And I'm sitting here, like, okay, it's just the way you draw. Just put it in the simplest words. It is the way you personally like to draw. Now, obviously, I like to draw in a very anime-esque art style, as you can see with my art style. And I've changed my art style 4 times. So, but the thing about art style that a lot of people don't know is that you can choose your own art style. You can choose to draw like anime. You can choose to do special things, and which I think is really cool. It makes it even more unique than it already is. Because even for stuff like anime that looks very similar, every anime has a very unique look to it, such as like their eyes and their noses. It's usually just with their eyes and noses and hair, but there are other anime that just put it even more out of the park. So just One Piece is very cartoony, but yeah. Something else that I know is the struggle to finding your art style. Like I said, I changed mine 4 times, and now I'm really happy with the one I wanted, that I'm at, with the crazy big ass hair highlights and the weird square-esque eyes, and I'm pretty happy with it. Now, another thing about art style is a lot of people think as soon as you choose your art style, that's it, you're going to draw like that forever. No, you will not. You will continually grow as time goes on. If you look at One Piece as a really good example, if you look at the first chapter of One Piece and look at the latest chapter of One Piece, they're the same, but they're completely different. They're the same art style, but the artist, Oda, has been improving constantly. And fun. So when you choose your art style, I think you should choose your art style very early on, so you know what it's like. But your art style can also find you in ways. Like, I had a dream where I was imagining a fight scene or some shit, and all my characters from my comic book series had these weird outlines around them, and I really liked that outline. And now I draw all my pieces with an outline afterwards. Only people though, no like objects have outlines, just people have outlines. But like I said, your art style can find you, but you can also find your art style. And like I said, you should probably find it early on so you and get a good image in your head of what you want. And that's what I'm doing. I'm not that good of an artist, but I know exactly what my end goal is. Now this is a lot disheartening for a lot of new artists. So if you're not really the most like dedicated to art, and if you're not gonna like want to do this as like a living, you're doing this just as a hobby, I say let your art style find you until you find your art style. Because it's very disheartening to you do these drawings and then be like, oh, it looks like shit. I mean, you're like, well, you're like, wait, it's in my art style though. And another thing about finding your art style way too early on is that some anatomy mistakes and just mistakes in general you'll think are your art style. And I've done this a couple times, but there are other times where I'm like, okay, like with the face anatomy is actually almost completely wrong. You see, the ear is way above the eye, which the ear should actually be on the level of the eye, and the face and mouth should be spread a little the nose and mouth should be spread a little further apart. But that just looks weird to me. I can't do that. And that's fucking with anatomy for your art style the right way. And if you do it the wrong way, it's just when you draw something wrong, you're like, okay, that's my art style now. Which isn't cool. I used to do that, and it's not fun. Then you end up getting really frustrated. Like, why can't I draw this right? Because you made a mental block inside your head that's saying, hey, this is my art style, and you shouldn't do that unless you're 100% sure, and you 100% know what you're doing in the first place. Like, obviously, I don't draw hands very well. I can see these hands are way too small. Yeah, they're way too small. I had to double check that. But yeah, they're way too small for the human body. Hands should be the same size as your character's face, like the same length, at the very least, because that's how they work in real life. And, you know, mine aren't. Now, I used to say that was my art style, but then I was like, oh wait, shit, that's not right. But, no. That's not true. Now, I know I said a lot about anatomy, and, you know, how you can fuck with it properly. Cartoonists are excellent at fucking with it. Now, just because if you want to be a cartoonist, and don't make that as an excuse not to study human anatomy, because I feel like if you know the anatomy and then you fuck with it properly, it makes it that much better. That's just my opinion. Like, a good series called Baki has these really grotesque, almost over-masculine people bodies, and they're amazing. Like, there's actual anatomy structure in there, but he's actively fucking with the anatomy, and it's amazing. Now, for new artists who want to actually find their art style, now we talk about plenty about the art style in general. We talk about how to find your art style. Like, if you want to personally just go out and find your art style. The way I did it, I have a very big, extensive manga collection, so I just used a bunch of manga and compiled things I like and put them all together, and then tweaked it as time went on. Now, as you can probably see, for Fairy Tail fans, you'll notice I do the same shading technique that he uses for Nex and Maka Kill. I use a lot of cross hatching as well, because I love cross hatching. I love cross hatching so much. And if you surround yourself with the work and then take the things you like, then you can start really developing it on your own. That's what I did. And it doesn't have to be with manga and shit, obviously. So if you like cartoons, you probably like Hanna-Barbera, let's be honest here, or Butch Hartman. you can just surround yourself with their work, take what you like, and then start developing it from there on. And then surround yourself with other work that you might enjoy, and get an Instagram account. There's a lot of artists on Instagram, and I know that's kind of like gross maybe to some of you guys, but the art community on Instagram is actually amazing. I have an Instagram account, and if you're interested in that for whatever reason, it's the same name as my channel, True Angel Studios. Now, one of the reasons I say go to Instagram is because you can find a lot of artists that you really, really enjoy. I know I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she has this really like anime yet really cartoony art style, which I really, really like. My goal with my art style was to fuse anime, cartoons, and realism all together. Obviously, I haven't gotten the realism in there yet, but I've gotten the anime and definitely the cartoon going up inside my art style. Another thing I have to say about art style is at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. You can do whatever you want. I know that's kind of weird, but you can really do whatever you want. Now, that's really the most important thing about art, is that you can do whatever you want with it. And I think that's the main reason I love art so much, is that the fact that you can do whatever you want and people won't really get mad at you for it.